Good evening, everyone. I'm calling the Southborough School Committee meeting to order on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025 at 6:31 p.m. 4 out of 5 committee members are present, and first order of business is public comment. Okay, so I don't see any public comment. Thank you. For new business, I'm going to, with the will of the committee, go a little bit out of order because we have our food service company here to give us an update. If everybody's okay with going to B4 on the agenda. Okay, great. So Matt and, was it Alyssa? Okay, if you want to come join us up here, that would be great. And so just to refresh everybody's memory who is watching at home, we went with a new food service company starting in September. This is the first time that we've outsourced our food services. So we're eager to hear how you think it's going and the progress that you've made to date in the Southborough schools. So welcome and thank you for coming.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having us. We are excited to have the opportunity to check in with you all and give a brief update. We'll try to keep it brief. So I'm Alyssa Charles. I'm the district manager with Whitson's. I work with a lot of school districts in the region, and we have Matt.
I'm Matt Delaney. I'm general manager with Whitson's, here on site every day.
So he's our on-site food service director for Southborough. So Matt's here every day, and I am here regularly.
Yep.
So we're going to talk tonight about, to highlight in our update, Whitson's 3 core principles, which is food, family, and service. So we always like to start with food, since that's what we like to talk about.
It's definitely like what I like to talk about, so being a food guy. So we'll go, there's a few pictures in here. For as far as food goes, we've increased the daily hot choices at all the schools. We've increased the daily hot choices here at Trotter. Increased cold offerings at the elementary schools, nice variety of things. And certainly a marked increase in fresh fruits and vegetable offerings at all of the schools. We're already seeing some good meal participation increases. So right now we're up 46 meals per day on lunches compared to the same month last year. So that represents 6%. And the total lunches for September on the screen, 14,827 to be exact.
We like to highlight that number. I don't think folks always realize how many meals that your teams and the schools are actually serving day in and day out and how quickly it adds up.
Yeah, just a few pictures of fruity parfaits. That's a vegan power lunch there. And then one of our veggie bowl concepts, which is all plant-based. So the sweet potatoes, fresh avocado, black beans, and rice with a nice sauce on top.
And so in the fruity parfait, I think the principals might be able to attest, has been very popular at all schools. So that's been a big winner as a daily option, and so as a school lunch, that's providing all the requirements for the USDA as far as protein, fruit, and the whole grain component of the granola. And then we've had, variety of popularity has varied with some of the other cold choices, but that vegan box with the sunflower seeds has been popular as well throughout all the schools. All right, family is our next principle, our next value. So family, Whitson's, we think of everyone as family, and so the district staff are important to us to make sure that they feel very supported through this transition. So we've been working really closely, of course, with the Southborough team, supporting them hands-on. Matt checks in almost daily on-site, if not through phone calls, text messages. We've done a few check-ins with all the leads, the managers at each school, where we've all gotten together, gone over the menu, what's going well, what needs to change, so that we can continue to just improve the process as we go. We don't want to just kind of set it and forget it, but we like to regularly follow up on how things are going and collaborate, take their feedback into consideration as we learn the school district. Everywhere we operate is different, and so it takes us some time to think, well, what's unique here? What do we need to consider? What should we adjust? And in addition to Matt, we have a full-time dietitian who's based she has an office at Algonquin, but she interacts with all the schools, helps build the menus, and make sure everything is compliant from a nutrition standpoint. We're also hiring a field supervisor who will work with the Northborough and Southborough schools as just an additional layer of support to be on site, extra hands, extra eyes, helping put processes in place to keep everything safe and compliant. And then, of course, support from myself, our VP, and other regional members of the Whitson's team.
All right, next areas are lines of service. And part of the service that we are offering, if you go to the next slide, on our communication piece. The FD Meal Planner website is where all of our menus and nutritional information, is housed for the community, for the kids, for the nurses, for the classrooms. That's just the home screen. You can do a find location. This picture is the Northborough one, but if you could do hashtag NSBorough, it comes up with all of the schools. And of course, if you just do, the single word Finn, Finn would come up as far as their lunch menu or breakfast menu. Just down below it is a snapshot of a weekly menu where you can do a print at home. So if you want to print the weekly menu, parents can have that hang on the refrigerator, make their daily choices for their kids. So when they get to school and they're getting surveyed, what do they want for lunch? They know what's available for that day. We always welcome parent feedback opportunities, email, phone calls. The FD Meal Planner does have a built-in feature where you can rate the food products, 1 star up to 5 stars. You can do actual verbal feedback on there, provide an email address for a follow-up, and so forth. It's great. And then down the road, we're going to be doing taste tests. We're going to bring in some local produce like butternut squash, bring it in, prepare it on site, have the kids try it, see how they like it. And we'll do some informal surveys. What's working, what's great, what do you like, what don't you like? And then our always ongoing commitment to nutritious, appealing meals. We're going to strengthen our communication with families, the food service teams, and school leadership. We'll always seek student feedback and encourage students' participation in both the breakfast and the lunch programs.
So that's our high-level brief update. We welcome the opportunity for any questions or conversation that you'd like to have.
Okay, great. Do you have anything you want to add before?
No,
we
I
go to
just think
questions?
that we don't often hear about school lunches. So when we're in classrooms, when we're in the cafeterias, we're hearing a lot about students, and they've noticed a change. I was actually in a classroom today, and the student asked, what I did. I said I was a superintendent, and I'm not sure every day, but and he said, "Oh, you're the person who made the lunches better." And I was like, "No." I was like, "That's Becky and Keith and the partnership with Whitson's, but a lot of positive outcomes." I am pleased with what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing happening in our cafeterias.
Great. Thank you. Roger.
I'm going to be very direct about this. Did you bring any food? I watched all these wonderful pictures of food up there. I haven't eaten since noon.
That's when we need to have school committee meetings. Is it like noontime? Right in the cafeteria?
That's a no, is what you're telling me?
Well, remember for next
Next
time,
time.
but we do invite you to come in any day to visit in one of the schools and to see what we're actually serving and see the variety.
Absolutely.
I thought it was a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm still hungry.
Anyone else have any questions?
I have a question about how you assimilated our existing staff into your program.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the existing staff, was obviously they were doing a very fine job. The kids were being fed and so forth. When we came in, we have to have the understanding that they're capable and they want the best for the kids. And
Which is true.
that's at our core. We want to be, providing the best for the kids. So we train, we present what our expectations are. We work with the team to figure out that sweet spot on how to make it happen. We've got great recipes, we've got great products that we can buy and create into lunches, but it takes, the skill in the kitchens to be able to do that.
I think one of the most important things that we work on in the first few months when we come into a district is to get the buy-in from the school staff that are existing, to show them that what we're bringing adds value to what they already do. Because as Matt said, feeding the kids is always our number one priority, and we have that in common. But to show them that what we're doing is actually going to get the kids really excited and bring a lot of positive feedback. And we try to remind them that it's, at the end of the day, it's what they're doing. They're the ones making the lunches and serving the kids with a smile, and they know their names when they come through the register, that it's really them, and to make them feel empowered and part of the process.
Good, thank you.
Absolutely.
No, just a comment, I've been really impressed with just the array of different options. My son has, been, not willing to try certain foods, but with the new options this year, I've said just give it a try, and he's totally tried new foods that he would never have tried otherwise.
Nice.
And it looks really appealing, just the food looks like wonderful, so we've just had a great
Nice.
experience thus far.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
the school lunch program is such a great opportunity for students to try something new for the first time. It might be a food that you just don't cook at home for whatever reason, and you try it for the first time because you smell it wafting down the hallways and you see your friends getting it, and so it's a kind of a lower stakes option. And of course, if a student tries something new and they don't like it, they can always come back, and the school staff would never turn a student away if they're hungry. So
I have a couple of questions. So now that you've had a chance to get into all the schools, are there equipment needs that are lacking in any of our cafeterias, or do you feel like you have sufficient equipment to provide the options that you were hoping to?
Well, I think I'll tackle that. The kitchen at Finn is fantastic.
Okay.
The kitchen at Woodward, also very well equipped,
Okay.
lots of different things. I wish there was a walk-in refrigerator, but looking at the footprint in there, don't think that's really a feasible item. Neary lost the ability to have walk-ins, and certain pieces of equipment, due to the age of the building. So it's a struggle to really create something fantastic there without bringing it down the hill from this building,
Yeah.
on a daily basis. So we make it work, but that's been a challenge. The kitchen in this building is very well equipped. I've been working with Keith on, we're going to get a warming unit to keep the prepped food hot and fresh and ready to go. The one that's existing in the kitchen right now doesn't get quite to temperature and hold it, and when you open the door a lot, it falls in temperature. But other than that, everything's been really, really great. So
I think overall, compared to a lot of districts that we see, the food service equipment is in pretty good shape. The schools have, for the most part, what we need to do what they're doing. Obviously, 2 schools are cooking on site, and then nearly a lot is being brought over from.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I think congratulations is in order, because this is the only school district that I've worked in, and I've done it for now, that every school has a dishwasher that works, which is fantastic.
That allows us to use the reusable trays.
Reusable trays, it's a little bit more
As
sustainable.
opposed to throw away.
So, yeah,
Great. Okay.
that's good.
My next question is, can you expand on your breakfast offerings and how that's going?
Yeah, breakfast offerings have been just chilled offerings so far.
Okay.
There isn't a lot of time in the work schedule for, a setup and cooking on site for those schools who can cook on site, to be able to provide like a breakfast spread that's, a little bit more hot and egg focused and those kind of things. So
Tends to be a lot of grab and go options.
a lot of grab and go.
Okay.
We tried doing some homemade overnight oats as just sort of to introduce something new. Popularity was low. So we try it, we'll try it again. We don't just knock it once, but we try to bring in some different and newer options and test the waters. And if it's not popular, we like to make a change. So.
All right. And the alternate options, are those available on the online menu?
They are.
Can you tell me where?
Yeah, there's a toggle.
Can you
Okay.
go back to that slide for the,
Yeah, the communication slide.
Are you asking for a phone?
I'm asking for a friend, because I think I'm getting.
It's actually not on there, but when you click into one of those schools.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to go to the website, we could kind of do a quick walkthrough of it, but it's on the top right, there's a toggle that says all available. And when you click that.
it says condensed or all
Yeah.
available.
Oh, condensed
Okay,
menu?
thank you.
Yeah, so you slide it the other way
And
and
then they
all
all
pop up.
pop.
Got it.
So it highlights the daily specials.
Tell your friend.
I'm gonna tell my friend. Yeah, I think I'm getting some misinformation on what's actually available.
And the very cool part on that is if you click on any one of the actual items on that menu,
Yeah.
it pops up with the nutritional information, the ingredients, any allergy information, and there's a way to build a meal as well, where you can choose an entree, choose a side, choose a condiment, choose a milk, and get this full snapshot of what the nutritional
Right.
picture is.
I think that's great.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Well, I have some pretty happy kids in my house too about the offering, so we appreciate all the work that's gone into this, and to our staff too, who have kind of worked through this transition. And you know, we all know change isn't easy sometimes, but it's nice that we were able to retain them and improve our offerings for our students. So.
Excellent.
Anybody have anything else? Any of the principals want to say anything? I know this was a big item.
The staff loved your overnight oats. They did. They were a big hit in the office.
I think the offerings as a whole are incredible to see. You know, fresh vegetables, fruit, sliced cabbage with zucchini and hummus and rice. I grabbed a bowl the other day and loved it. I will say that I think a lot of students are selecting some lunch items and not really having any idea of what it is. So they take the bowl and then they might eat a few bites of it, but then they're not eating the whole meal. So of course, as Leisha said, they're going up to get a second option, but I am concerned with the waste that's there. So it's just something that we're continuing to keep an eye on, because you hate to see fresh fruit and vegetable being thrown away like that. But I think parents and families could help partner if they're reviewing the lunch options, talking with their kids about what is part of the grain bowl or what is part of the hummus plate, just so that the kids aren't surprised.
Do we show pictures in the morning?
That was another thing. I think some picture.
There are
correct me if I'm
some
wrong, there are
photos on the
photos.
website, but not for every
But I'm just
item.
wondering, like in the morning, I mean, I assume this is how it works, I've never seen it, but the teacher says, okay, who's buying lunch?
Yep.
And do you want, this is the hot option, and then here are your other options? I don't know, for some of the younger kids.
Yeah, it's more descriptive. There
Okay.
is kind of an image. And some of the things we do comparative, like popcorn chicken today, is like chicken tenders. So
Yeah, yeah.
that would be a variation, so they're
Okay.
familiar with that.
Yeah,
Kids are excited at Defense School for,
that's great.
I mean, when they saw the yogurt parfaits, they thought it was a dessert item. So immediately went from 7 that were ordered to 70.
They're a huge
not
hit
lying.
at Mary,
Yeah.
and the salads are a
heard the
great
salads. They look
addition.
great.
We have so many students working with salads. I know our nurse is so excited about the nutritional component of it, being able to click on that from her office and ensure that all of our students are safe with their allergies. And just, it's been a good shift for us. And students are trying things that they haven't tried before. I tried the chickpeas with the honey and cinnamon. They were delicious. And I would have never tried it, and we're just putting it on the train. I see students are trying it, so there's been some really good additions.
That's great. I think sometimes kids are more willing to try it if it's not their parents, too, giving it to them. Like, I think that's a big part of kids trying new things.
Well, my trick every year, not trick, but to learn students' name, I stand behind the dining room manager and the name pops up and I'll, oh, hi Joey, those chickpeas look awesome.
Yeah.
And so
You covered
talking
it.
that up as
Yeah.
while learning the names.
Yep.
That's
So it's a
great.
win-win.
Good. All right. Anything from your perspective, Becky, on the financial
No, it's
side?
been great. I mean, we've been able to, I think, really work together over the past few months. I know both Alyssa and Matt have been very responsive, and we've actually sat down with them and with Dennis, and, it's been a great partnership. So
Great.
we're just excited to see what else there is to come, and I guess I have to go down and try some of these
Yes.
offers. I'll bring Roger with me.
Make a reservation at Finn.
We're on open table.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
tonight.
you.
It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure to meet you, and thank you for all the work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great addition.
And very nice presentation. Thank you. Okay. Great. Principal's report.
Sorry, I shouldn't have disconnected.
Oh,
Here we go. Okay.
So for the Mary Finn School, just updating with some,
Through the chair, can I ask
go ahead.
one question? I wanted to wait to ask the question. Do we have feedback from parents? I mean, I heard Laura tonight on the new offerings, et cetera. I mean, people in general, the parent population,
I've gotten a lot of feedback.
a lot of good feedback, I
Positive.
presume?
Yeah.
A lot of positive feedback?
I mean, I don't know if you've gotten direct.
Anecdotally, but I can't recall any specifics, Roger, but I will say that during the breakfast offerings last year, I was hearing from a lot of families who were unhappy with the offerings, and I haven't heard anything to the contrary. I mean, I haven't heard any of those similar comments this year, which is leading me to believe that families are happier with the options, but I haven't sought feedback at this point.
Well, it doesn't sound like breakfast is really comprehensive yet either. It
No.
sounds like it's more grab and go kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think for Mary, we typically have seen an increase once our morning band and chorus and orchestra start, because students are hungry after that, because they're coming in early, so typically we've seen it almost double. So that's coming up, and I'm anxious to see what that looks like.
And Clayton, you have parent helpers at
we have
lunch.
probably about four a day on
Yeah.
average. The feedback has been very positive.
Okay.
They'd love to see the fresh fruit, as Steve mentioned, vegetables, the components, and the fact that a lot of the options are now in line with things that are diverse. So if you look at our student population and you think about some of the cultural aspects, having something with chickpeas or rice and other things, it's more in line with what our students have been bringing in from home, and that's something that we're really trying to promote.
Yeah.
The motto at Finn is "Don't yuck someone else's yum," and it's important to recognize that everyone comes in likes things that are different. So I think this is a good step towards that from what we
Can I just
see.
add something too? I think it was a little bit of a learning curve for our students, because there was fresh offerings of the vegetables, then there's oranges and apples or a variety of fruits, and it's so traditional, and they just come through the line and get what they get. And then when we started to encourage them, no, yes, you can take a vegetable, you can take a fruit, or you can take both. So now, 23 days in, they're coming through the line, and they're not only getting their hot or cold lunch, but then they're choosing a fruit, choosing a vegetable. So I think that was a little bit of a learning curve, and we figured that out once we saw nobody was taking anything.
Okay.
Because they didn't think it was for them, so they're excited now.
Okay. And
I
Steve,
will-
is that
I
where
will
you're
say-
seeing that they're taking, not necessarily knowing what it is?
I guess a general concern that I have is when kids are taking some of these different options, which I want, like, are wonderful. It's
Yeah.
not that they're bad options, but kids are taking them and either not eating them at all, wasting them, throwing them away, or taking a few bites and it's just staying on their tray. And these are kids who are not going up to get a second lunch option. So compared to last year where they would have had a slice of pizza or a hot dog or something like that, they're getting a healthier option, but they're eating less food in some cases. So I don't know, like as far as calorie intake and all of that,
Yeah.
I don't know that all their needs are being met.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Back to, so this issue of wasting the food, and and I heard your concern, is there any sort of a strategy here that means you won't be concerned about this 3 months from now because nothing has changed? Or?
I mean, I can add, so Whitson's also presented to the Northborough School Committee. So this was a topic of conversation as well.
Okay.
So it's a couple of factors. One is that our kitchen staff are getting used to prepping, making these meals. And it's also getting a sense of paring down all of the offerings.
Right.
So really getting a sense of what students like or don't like. I think the October menu is different than the September menu from feedback that Whitson's has received. So I'm hoping that as we move forward, we'll see less waste. But I don't think that's a bad thing right now. I think they're new to us. Kids are figuring out the options. And I think it's a learning curve that will happen over the next month or two. But I think we'll get there.
And I'll just add one more parent feedback that came to me unsolicited from a parent with middle school and NERI students. And he said middle school students in the back of his car are talking about the food. He's like, that's not normal. And his student at NERI, came home raving about chicken Caesar salad and Philly cheesesteak. And so it was sort of an unsolicited, we've got happy campers. So
Interesting.
And then we had another parent who shared that for the first time, they had choices in terms of options. So they had vegetarian options that aligned with kind of what
halal diet, like Muslim diet.
Muslim diet. So
Great.
it was like windows and mirrors. They were seeing the food, and this particular student was thrilled that he had options.
That's great.
So I think the early indication is very positive. Where it's not perfect. I think your point around food service staff working really hard has been key. It's a change, and I think it's been a lot of work for Keith and Becky for the past 6 months, just organizing and planning. But again, as I indicated, I see a marked improvement in the quality of food the kids are eating, and I think I'm very pleased with where we are today.
All right. Good. Okay. Principal's report.
Right, so I'll start with some photos from the Finn School that illustrate some of the things being done over the past month. First slide is an example of the continued work we're doing in our classrooms with the theme of belonging. Classes read the book All Are Welcome, a book that celebrates diversity, inclusion, and community. It follows a group of children through their school day, highlighting different backgrounds, cultures, and abilities. Second photo is, well, actually the photo to the far right is our Dot Day celebration for International Dot Day. It's celebrated annually on September 15th to inspire creativity, courage, and collaboration based on the children's book, The Dot by Peter Reynolds. The holiday encourages people of all ages to express themselves through various art forms, starting with a simple dot and then discovering their ability and where that takes them. And the middle photo is that of our Finn Fall Festival. It's a community building event designed to bring families, students, staff, local partners together in a fun, informal setting. Offers SOS an opportunity to raise awareness about who they are and what they do, strengthen community connections, and potentially support fundraising, volunteer engagement. We had local groups like Southborough Police, Fire, Southborough Rec, Town Sports, Basketball, all participate this year by setting up tables and booths to engage families, as well as 4 or 5 food trucks in different contexts. So it was a great turnout.
So just an observation, Principal Ryan, that your use of a collage was very creative for 3 pictures.
Actually, that was given to me.
So we'll blame someone else.
Great.
So I'll start on the far left with Woodward Artists. So this is similar to what Clayton shared. It was an activity in our art class with Sophia Maroney. around the book The Dot by Peter Reynolds. So we wanted to include this because it shows a continuation of work that students are learning at Finn and how it's kind of unfolding or leveled up as they get to be with us at Woodward. The message is an important one, though. It's around seeing the beauty in different things, trying your hardest, taking academic risks, and using your creativity and inspiring others to do well. So this, the artwork here, there's a combination of watercolors, oil pastels, there's some tinfoil printing, there is some yarn work. Kids were given a lot of different options for the medium in which they would want to use to show the dot, and it's layered as well to give it depth and to highlight the students' work. Yay Espanol is the center video. If you see Senora Hughes, she'll probably say that to you. It's just about celebrating some hard work in Spanish. This is one of our third grade students who has a kind of a fake false mustache sticker. When students work independently to learn the ABCs in Spanish and can recite them or sing them, then they're given this little recognition. Kids wear it around the school all day long, and they love it. And when a kid has a mustache, every teacher knows what it's for, and they give them a high five. Other kids are asking, when can I get my mustache? So it's really just a great way to make the learning visible to others if they're not in the classroom.
So mine came home today with one. And I was like, what are you doing? I had no idea. I thought he was joking that's why he got one.
I thought Senor Hayes was joking the first day too.
So he ordered on the bus.
Last year.
Yeah. So.
And you can see how happy the child is behind her, even though she didn't do the ABCs, but it was a celebration for her. And then on the far right is a picture from Titan Games last Friday. I did get students' permission, and Zoe's mom was thrilled that we were going to be putting her photograph in this. That is an encouragement poster of Zoe from her classmates. We had 7 athletes from Woodward participate in the Titan Games. It was just a great event held at the high school, and we're just incredibly thankful to Student Sport Services for putting it on and for Sean Bevan to host.
I'll be reporting for Neri and for Gary for Trottier. So in the first photo, the middle photo, is to share Neri's music program continues to be very robust, with many students playing dual instruments as well as participating in chorus. Beginner band students who are new to instruments started receiving instruction at the end of September. And in this photo, you'll see 3 fourth grade students during their flute lesson with Ms. Sherman. Currently, our 5th grade band and orchestra are meeting as ensembles, and in the new year, our beginner band members will join. I just want to share with you how many students are participating in our programs for strings. In 4th grade, we have 42, and in 5th grade, we have 40. Chorus is at an all-time high of 114 students participating in our course. And in band, we have 73 in 4th grade and 42 in 5th grade.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes. So the chorus, we're excited about all of it, but the chorus, it's just amazing the amount of students. And like I said, some are playing an orchestra instrument, a band instrument, as well as participating in the chorus. And not just a few, there's a bunch of them. Or they're doing one of the instruments and chorus. So kudos to Mrs. Speens and Ms. Sherman for running just exceptional programs. On the far right is, in this photo, the students are working on locomotor skill of jumping while recognizing the role of respectful interactions with others when participating in a physical activity, which is one of the PE curriculum standards. In the photo, the students are participating in an activity that's called rock, paper, scissors, snake. So in this activity, the students jump through the hula hoops from opposite ends of the hula hoop snake until they meet a student from the other team somewhere in the middle. When they meet at that point, they do rock, paper, scissors. The winner continues jumping while the other student goes to the end of their line and a new teammate starts jumping. So these are 2 4th grade students. And then on the left Grade 5 launched the year with Wit and Wisdom Module 2, and The Phantom Toll Booth by Norton Juster is the foundational text. And in this photo, you're seeing the Phantom Toll Booth doorway created by one of our 5th grade teachers, Amy Dolan, as a means to immerse her students in the experience just prior to launching the text. She's right next door to our science lab, so she took over the science lab, created a mock station leading to the doorway for students with directions and signs reminding them what time check-in time is, to take a token and to prepare to enter the Phantom Toll Booth. So in this module, students explore how writers use words not just to communicate but to play, creating humor, confusion, tone, and meaning, and they examine how language itself can be a major character in a book, shaping setting, plot, and character. And for Trottier. So the picture in the middle, the Crochet Club, under the theme Build It and They Will Come at Trottier, we've seen how opportunities can spark passion that extends far beyond school. For the past couple of years, Trottier has offered an after-school crochet club. One of their students, 7th grade, Siona Varani, attended many sessions and developed a strong interest that she spent the summer expanding her skills through YouTube tutorials. This fall, she even showcased and sold her own homemade creations at a children's business fair in Acton. This growth is a credit to Trottier's advisor, Mrs. Maynard, who has provided a welcoming and creative outlet for many students. Science curriculum pilot. Mr. Hershak wanted to highlight the work of their science teachers who are piloting a new curriculum resource in preparation for next year. Their 6th and 8th grade teachers are engaging students with high-quality, phenomenon-based science programs. Currently, they are piloting Amplify Science, and will also be exploring Open Science Ed. Both are fully aligned with the next generation science standards. The pilot units are carefully designed so that students continue to learn all required grade level science content, while also giving teachers valuable insight into new approaches. The photo included shows an 8th grade class engaged in a hands-on activity modeling the phases of the moon. Using replica moons and a light source as the sun, students were able to make observations and draw conclusions through direct experiential learning. Their excitement and engagement during this lesson were clear. And finally, 6th grade Nature's Classroom Trip. Mr. Hershak wanted to share a snapshot from the recent 6th grade Nature's Classroom field trip. Students traveled to Great Barrington for a 2-day, 1-night experience in environmental studies and experiential learning. This trip provided students with the opportunity to immerse themselves in nature, foster peer relationships, and cultivate a sense of community beyond the classroom. Mr. Hershak will provide a more detailed update at a future meeting, and wanted to thank Assistant Principal Mr. Kittleson and the 6th grade team for their planning, leadership, and commitment to making this a meaningful experience for our students.
Great, thank you. Anyone have any comments or questions?
I just have a comment that's sort of related. And I'll go back to the photograph you had of the Titan Games. I hadn't been, and I actually went on Friday. And did all the schools have participants in the Titan Games? I mean, I had to watch from a distance because the superintendent invited our chairperson down on the field, but they felt kind of bad for me and did come up and talk to me afterwards. But I mean, it was a glorious day. The weather was fabulous. Everybody looked like they were having such a marvelous time, and so I didn't realize what I'd missed by not going before. And it was, I mean, obviously the weather helped. I mean, if it had been downpour or something like that, it would have been a little different, but it really was stunning.
Yeah. All schools are represented. I would say that based on the profile of students, they may have, one school may have more than others. But yes, it's a district-wide event and really celebrates diversity and equity for students.
Well, and there were Algonquin students that were there for part of the time to kind of support, and I imagine it must have been, the kids must have had a very supportive feeling then, because you see a whole, several stands full of the high school kids, that were supporting the kids on the field. So it was really, I'm really glad that I went.
Yeah, so I wasn't, I don't think I was on the field for the high school students, but I did see some Trotter and Nelican students also there, supporting the athletes, and that is a great way to
What time was
engage
that?
them.
Oh, the whole time, or?
They're there the whole time to support students, to help them with the events,
Were they
You were on the
guide
field.
them.
on the field?
Yeah, on the
Okay,
field.
yeah, on the field, okay.
Yeah, so they were on
Got
the
it,
field, rather
yes.
not in the stands.
Yeah, okay, you could sort of see a lot of the kids that were supporting the athletes, and
Yeah.
it was great.
I think one of the really great takeaways is that then the students go back to school and they're wearing their medals, and that generates more conversation for other students saying, how'd you get the medal, right? And I think even though the rest of the school wasn't there, it brings more inclusion, because now they're getting to show off their accomplishments. And then it generated, for us at least, it generated questions at home, because they were referring to students who had medals. And so I was explaining to them what Titan Games were, and that I had been invited to go as well. And I'll echo what Roger said about the Trotter students. I thought that was awesome. They were so engaged with those kids.
Very encouraging. You
Yeah.
could tell it even from a distance.
Yeah, it was great. So thanks to Gary's team for allowing them to assist, and I'm sure Malkin principal as well. So.
And I just want to thank Helene and Deb Lemieux. Deb, this is her leadership area, so she organizes, and this is the first time we've held Titan Games in the fall. So it was a shift from the spring to the fall. I think it worked out really well. So I want to thank the Student Support Services team, and just acknowledge the principals too. They make a big deal of it. Having our student athletes leave the building, they do clap outs and celebrations. So it's a big deal, and I think it's a great community event and great for our student athletes.
Thank you. Elementary school improvement plan.
I'm loading that up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Which was very nervous about it.
You did a good job.
Let's see how I do with the slide flipping.
So, thank you. We're excited to share our school improvement plan update. This plan reflects where we're headed as a learning community and how we're aligning our work with our district vision to ensure every student thrives. One of the things that's so fortunate about the work that we do day to day is that we get to see our plans in action. Whether we're in the classrooms or in the hallways or meeting with teachers, we're seeing these goals, what they look like in real time. And our goal today is to highlight this work for everyone who doesn't always get to see this firsthand. And to support this theme, when we get to our goals, we've decided to use photos and to talk about the look and the sounds of learning, instead of just listing our action steps and what we've achieved. As we've shared previously, our school improvement plan is deeply connected to Vision 2026, our district strategic plan, and the Portrait of a Graduate. When we bring all these aspects together, our district vision, the portrait, the incredible work happening within our schools every day, you can start to see how it's all connected and interwoven. From pre-K to the day of graduation, it's all about what we want our students to possess when they step across that graduation stage. Students who built the skills, mindsets, and habits that will carry them throughout their lives. That's the why behind all we do. How our school improvement plan goals fit into the larger vision. Aligned strategic and school improvement planning. We've been working to make sure that our district and school planning processes connect in timing, in content, and in direction. When we're all aligned, it gives us a shared purpose. lengthening the plans, maintaining flexibility. Our improvement cycles are longer, giving us our plans more depth and meaning over time, while at the same time keeping them flexible. That way, when new data or needs arise, we can make adjustments without losing our focus. Strengthening data decision-making, we want to make sure that when we're using data, not just to check boxes, but to guide our actions and track our progress. Our data helps us see where we're going and what's working well. And finally, increase alignment across our schools. We're focused on creating greater consistency and collaboration across our schools. When our efforts are aligned as a district, we build collective strength, and that leads to stronger, more equitable outcomes for all of our students. Now, our school improvement plan aligns with 5 strategic objectives in the district's plan. For our schools, we're focusing on 4 main goals: 2 in empowering learners, 1 in equity of opportunity, and 1 in healthy and balanced learners. Each of us has a slide on enrollment, and I'll start with Finn. Here's a snapshot of our current enrollment at the Finn School. We currently have 371 students. This number includes 75 students who are on IEPs, 5 students who are involved in our Castle program, a sub-separate program, and 46 multilingual learners. Each of our schools supports our students' unique needs, but together we form a cohesive K-5 experience for all of our Southborough students.
In Woodward, our enrollment is 275 students. 44 of those students have an IEP. We have 6 Castle students, part of the Castle program. And then a caveat to this data is the number of REACH students we have currently is 5. They're not included in the 275 enrollment, so it's actually 280 students that come through our doors every day. 30 multilingual learners and 18 identified as former multilingual learners.
And at the Neary School, our total enrollment is 263 students. We have 34 students on IEPs, 7 multilingual learners, and 29 former multilingual learners.
So we're starting with Goal 1 that focuses on empowering our learners through consistent, high-quality instruction. We're entering year 3 of implementing Wit and Wisdom, and we continue to grow in both skill and our confidence. If you were to step in our schools and you'll hear this phrase over again, what you'll see and what you'll hear, you'll see our reading specialists and literacy coaches partnering in this work, supporting teachers, guiding conversations, and helping us refine our practice. You'll see our literacy coaches and specialists develop school-wide literacy plans guided by the Literacy Prism grant. These plans will help us align our strategies and track meaningful progress in literacy outcomes. But you'll see in grades 4 and 5 are their teams at Neary moving forward with their new spelling and phonics resources, building stronger connections between decoding, vocabulary, and comprehension. And on the math side, you'll see our early adopters and newly appointed math coach working closely with staff to fully implement Eureka, ensuring alignment and consistency across our classrooms. Throughout all of this, we remain grounded in high-quality instructional practices because we believe great instruction is at the heart of everything we do. And finally, you'll see curriculum leaders continuing to lead the charge, facilitating professional learning, sharing our best practices, and creating opportunities for collaboration during department, PLC, and staff meetings. In short, Goal 1 is all about deepening our instructional craft and ensuring that every student in every classroom benefits from engaging, high-quality teaching. Moving on to Goal 2, which centers on collaboration and data-driven growth. We'll see our teachers and staff continuing to work together in professional learning communities, engaging in meetings that are data-driven, action-oriented, and very reflective. They're not just meeting, they're opportunities for continuous improvement and shared problem solving for our teams. You'll also see us finding ways to remove barriers for learning, ensuring that all of our students have equitable access to the materials and instruction that we have as resources. We're expanding our family engagement efforts, and you'll see greater systems and modes of communication in school-wide presentations within all of our schools, because we believe when families and educators partner, all of us benefit. On the data front, you'll see data collection models to illustrate growth and provide meaningful feedback. And this year, we're excited to leverage Analytic View to collect and analyze data within our PLCs, professional learning communities, helping us make more informed instructional decisions. We'll also continue our universal design for learning work, expanding its reach to have a broader impact across all of our schools. And finally, teachers will engage in classroom buddy conversations, focusing on social emotional learning, instructional practices, and strength-based approaches. Together, we believe these actions strengthen our culture of collaboration, where every educator learns, grows, and supports one another in pursuit of better outcomes for all of our students.
Our third goal is connected to equity of opportunity, and that goal is to maintain and enhance inclusive classroom communities and school environments characterized by equitable access to learning for every student, regardless of background or ability, and strive to address their diverse individual needs effectively. Some photos for the presentation of what this looks like and sounds like around our buildings. Reflected in the action steps are 4 themes, within those. The first being clarity and flexibility in learning. We want every student to know what they're learning and have different ways to show it, and have different ways to show what they know. We continue to apply the principles of universal design for learning, UDL, setting clear goals while providing students with multiple ways to engage, express understanding, and demonstrate success. In classrooms, you'll see student variability in how they demonstrate their learning, as well as the tools and strategies they choose to use to facilitate their own success. Building confidence in equity conversations. This year, we're working to strengthen our collective confidence in having respectful conversations about diversity, discrimination, and race, both with one another and with our students and families. Through professional learning, intentional modeling, and structured opportunities for dialogue, we're developing a shared foundation and common language for these important discussions. And as part of that, each school is connecting with Maggie Ibrahim on professional development for staff, and having a through line between what those trainings between schools and over years. So we're excited about that piece. Creating belonging through inclusive practices. We have a deep commitment to helping every student, staff member, and family feel a strong sense of belonging within our school and larger community. This means using inclusive, evidence-based practices like UDL and restorative justice, and aligning around consistent, culturally responsive, and linguistically sustaining approaches across the many facets of a student's day. Additionally, around our schools, you'll see a number of student and family-centered events, as were mentioned and shared in some of the earlier updates. Creative arts, engaging presenters that celebrate our diverse community. And finally, strengthening instruction through collaboration and support. We're enhancing teaching and learning in inclusive settings through feedback, coaching cycles, classroom observations, and co-teaching. We're also investing in the professional development of our educational support professionals, who play a crucial role in our student success. These efforts will not only refine current practices, but also help inform future staffing and instructional decisions. In the classroom, you will see students receiving individualized and thoughtful instruction tailored to their needs, while also maintaining high expectations for student learning and growth. Together, all this work helps us ensure that every student is seen, supported, and challenged, and that our schools continue to be places where all learners thrive.
And Goal 4 aligns with healthy and balanced learners. Our goal is to create and utilize structured and organized methods for integrating health and wellness consistently within and across all educational settings. Reflected in our action steps for strengthening social and emotional learning. In our schools, teachers are helping students build social and emotional skills through the second step curriculum, anti-bullying lessons, and restorative circle practices, for which a cohort of teachers and administrators across our 4 schools have completed Tier 1 restorative justice training. In the classroom, you might see students participating in table talk discussions where they problem solve real-life social situations together. During mourning and belonging meetings, teachers are embedding restorative circles into their routines and eventually it will lead to having students lead the circles themselves. For using data to support students, teachers regularly collaborate in PLCs to review social, emotional, and behavioral data, such as SABRES and school-specific student surveys. These discussions help to identify strategies to meet student needs and strengthen their individual skill sets. For example, recess surveys may reveal students who could use support making friends or joining games, thus allowing staff to teach and practice social entry skills in authentic ways. For promoting belonging, across our schools, we're creating more opportunities for families to feel connected and involved. You might see curriculum or art nights where students showcase their learning, or parents and grandparents volunteering in classrooms during workshops. We also host principal coffees, informal gatherings that invite families to meet school leaders, share ideas, and strengthen home-to-school partnerships. Together, these efforts help foster a genuine sense of belonging for our members, the members of our community. For implementing new health standards, our schools are rolling out the new comprehensive health, physical education standards through close collaboration amongst our nurses, PE teachers, and wellness staff. You might see students engaging in updated lessons that focus on mental health, nutrition, and physical fitness, as well as discussions around decision-making, empathy, and personal safety. Teachers are weaving these standards into both classroom instruction and physical education activities, ensuring students gain the knowledge and skills to make healthy choices and lead balanced, active lives. For growing community partnerships, our schools continue to strengthen partnerships with local organizations that support student well-being. Each year, we welcome community partners such as Southborough Youth and Family Services, the Family Success Partnerships, and now our new school resource officer, Brian Collins, into our school communities. These trusted partners work alongside staff to build nurturing relationships with students and our families, provide valuable resources, and connect families with supports that extend beyond our school walls. For increasing learning opportunities, we're expanding opportunities for students to engage in creative and meaningful learning experiences that support both academic and social and emotional growth. In our schools, you might see students participating in cooperative play activities led by our Southborough Youth and Family Services counselors, meditation and yoga sessions facilitated by community practitioners and parents, and interactions with our therapy dogs who provide comfort, reduce stress, and help students build emotional regulation skills. These experiences promote focus, teamwork, and self-awareness, enhancing students' learning and well-being both inside and outside of the classroom. Through these collective efforts, we are cultivating schools where health, wellness, and belonging are embedded in every aspect of our learning. By intentionally connecting social emotional growth, physical health, and community partnerships, we're ensuring that every student has the tools, support, and opportunities to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. Goal 4 reflects our shared commitment to developing healthy, balanced learners who are prepared to contribute positively to their schools, families, and communities. The three of us would like to thank the school committee for giving us the opportunity to share our progress on our school improvement plan. Your commitment to our students' success and well-being helps make this important work possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything to add before we?
No, I just want to thank the principals for their partnership. They collaborate often around the school improvement plans. And I know they've worked hard over the past 6 months to work with their school councils, their faculty and staff, to be prepared for the 25-26 action plan. So thank you.
The committee have any questions or comments? Go ahead, Denise.
I want to compliment you because one of the things you said first was the fact that you are walking these kids through grade 12 to walk across that stage. And I think sometimes when we get these kids to high school, we forget that what happened here was the building block of what could happen in their success in high school. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. So too, seeing this is, I think, will be the third year that our seniors will come through your buildings for two reasons. Because I think the staff really love it to see how these kids have grown, and also the younger children saying, someday I'm going to be like that. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't just happen in the last 4 years. It happens from kindergarten through 8th grade through high school. And I think that's really important. I appreciate that.
Go ahead, Roger.
Thank you very much. Actually, there's more here than I can kind of assimilate. I want to ask, if the answer to this question is too long, then it's okay, we can look at it at a different time, but you use the phrase data-driven is used a lot, especially in Goal 2. And so I'm back to the slide that says, and you don't need to go back there, that says the goals of the school improvement process. The third bullet is, excuse me, develop a more data-driven improvement planning process. Anyone, couple of sentences on how is that done?
So data for schools has evolved over time, and with the adoption of Analytic View and our different data storage systems, storage means student information, we're able to utilize that more effectively and more efficiently, and analyze that in terms of trends, be it for a particular grade, particular student cohorts, or because of the structure that we have, school to school to school. And it's now a powerful tool in all areas. So we've got the SABRS, which is social emotional, in addition to our work in literacy and now in math. So utilizing all those together to help well-rounded understanding of a student, say in a cognitive, in their academic sense. So it's using that in a more efficient way with our teams to move the work forward.
With the repositories are all the student information data that's collected and continually
So I don't know if you want to
updated over time. And
yeah, I mean, Analytic View, we've been using that so frequently now in terms of just pulling up information for where a student was last year, where a student is this year, and then potential areas of a challenge. So it is very, very helpful to have that as just a one-stop opportunity. Because before, we'd have it in different areas. Now it's all centrally located and within a click.
And can I just
Thank
add,
you.
and when we're looking at a student, we also have access to their MCAS results. We also have attendance. So it's just not just the data for the content areas, but beyond that. So you get a real comprehensive picture of each student. Like Clayton was saying, you can pull and create cohorts of students and look at progress over time. So I think we've really gotten in the habit of utilizing this platform. It's been very helpful, where we used to have it on paper and lining it up and examining it was a little more difficult. This, we can all log on to Analytic View if we're in a PLC, or if we're working as principals, to look at students and all of the data that we have on each student. It's very helpful.
interesting, thank you.
So do we rely on that on the grade transitions too? So, like, for example, first grade to second grade, we're switching schools. Like, do the teachers use that data when they're going through transition meetings?
So you're talking about for placement or just for?
Like, to get to know the students that they're getting, and making sure that whatever cohort of students ends up in a classroom together, like, is that the data that we're relying on to as part of placement, but also to prepare the teachers for the incoming class?
So I can speak to Finn, yes, we are doing that. So
Okay.
meeting with grade 1 teachers and having them look at the data that was in kindergarten or is in kindergarten for our students, looking in a particular area. We've had 2 meetings over the past week or so where we've done that to help a teacher with their understanding
Okay.
of that student's learning profile and what their needs are.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say for Woodward, we certainly use the data. We're referencing it. We're trying to create balanced classrooms. So we're also taking into account students' social emotional well-being, their connection with peers, or potential conflicts that they've had with peers. Like, it's not, for I think all 3 schools, it's not just about the numbers, it's about how they would work with each other in a learning environment. So yes, the data is used, but with the balance.
Okay.
To Roger's point, when I'm hearing data-driven, thinking around SEL in particular, like we now have a Sabre screening tool that data we start collecting at Finn, and we're then continuing to collect it at Woodward and Neary. So that's a piece where it's been a great addition to our district, and I think that helps inform some decisions around how to create a sense of belonging in school culture in your classrooms, how you might kick off the school year with your morning meetings and things like that. Because we've always had, or for many years, we've had the MCAS data and other academic pieces, but that was definitely something that was a driver for us with our current school improvement plan.
I guess the only thing I'll add is that we are constantly trying to improve the dashboards and be able to create the different visualizations that people need and to use kind of the power of having all this data together. And so, yes, it can be used for placement. So things like Steve was just talking about the Sabres data, which is SEL, we can make a group that might be a potential class for a future year and see their data together.
Okay.
So rather than just like a lot of pieces of paper, as Kathleen was saying, on a table, you can now select a group of kids and see, oh, what is the Sabres screener data for this set of kids right there on the screen, or look at math data or ELA data, or if they're older kids, you could see their past MCAS scores, things like that, so that it's sometimes hard to visualize, like bringing a group together. And of course, things change, nothing's perfect, but there's a lot of different capacities, so we're constantly kind of saying what is helpful to people, what do we need to improve on the dashboard, and Kathy Carmignani and Julie Marshall do a lot of work behind the scenes as we get better. This is, with our changes in curriculum, it's also been a sort of ever-changing challenge. So right now what we're working on is getting our Eureka math data in, which is pretty easy at the upper grades, but at the lower grades we've had to build a dashboard for that data entry. So I'm excited to hear all the ways that everybody's using it. So it's great.
And I'll just add that, when the second grade teachers log into Analytic View, they have all their data of their new students. So at their fingertips, where that took a lot of work to gather and collect all that information. So they have a historical view of a student, and it's information for a purpose, and that is to support the student's learning. So we're excited that it's been a multi-year journey, and now it's just making sure that we're using the data that we have to its fullest potential.
One last example is that I've heard from the middle school. It's just the efficiencies around certain things, like MCAS scores is a good example where sometimes people need them for particular meetings, or for it might be the IEP process or things like that, and the school psychologist can now go into Analytic View, look up the student. The access is restricted by our data privacy and making sure that not everyone has access to everything. People have access to the students they should have access to, but they know it no longer has to always like come back to the principal who has to look up that thing, or come back to that one person who has access to the security portal through DESE. So there's a lot of efficiencies, I think, that have been created, and I think guidance counselors are a group that and school psychologists that have really found it incredibly helpful.
Great. Anyone have any other comments or questions?
Yeah, kind of to go along with what you were just mentioning, the dashboard for that platform. I've used those, in work settings and such, and there's sometimes so much information. It's almost kind of getting a sense of how to best utilize information, what's the most efficient data pulls that you can pull together in dashboard. I'm just wondering, I think you spoke to it just a bit now, but have you found there's best practices that's being shared between teachers that are, so there's some consistency as well in terms of what are the best ways that we can utilize this information? What are the best kind of data pieces that are going to help here? Yeah.
It's a great question, and I think that is some of our work this year. Kathy Carmignani and I were just talking about, we are working right now to tune up some of the MCAS dashboards on there because this is the time of year when MCAS scores are coming out. And our teachers typically engage in item analysis discussions where they look at particular items on the MCAS. And in the past, that process has relied on the principals taking reports from the DESI portal, printing them, providing them to teachers, and we are getting those dashboards ready. And then what we're planning to do is work with our NASA team, look at some of the protocols, look at the ways that people have approached those, make sure that those dashboards are sort of set up for that, and provide people with data protocols that they can use with their teams. MCAS is not a place where people probably need new protocols because they're really used to doing that analysis. But some of the other places we are working with the teaching and learning team to be able to say what are some of the protocols that would support teams in not being overwhelmed by this and kind of efficiently having good conversations about the data. But that will be some of our ongoing work.
Great. All right. And when is the next school improvement? Like we're in year 3 of?
Year 2 of 3 right
We're in
now.
2 and 3? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, got it. All right. Great. That was a great presentation and a lot of information. So thank you for putting it together. I'm sure it's a lot of work for you all to get together and more at your building level as well. So thank you so much. Okay. Do we need the principals to stay? Okay. Can we just take a slight recess?
Yes.
Okay, that'd be great. At 7:42.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice, I think I stumped you with that data-driven question, but not at all. You just handled it.
Kristen.
Yeah, she can send it update.
Great, we're back in session at 7:50. Our next order of business is Southborough Extended Day Program Update.
Excuse me.
So this evening, Keith Boy is not able to attend, so we had our second best person give the SCDP reports.
Good choice.
So Becky will give a report on the Southborough
Are
Extended
you
Day
sure you
program.
don't mean this is an upgrade?
No, but Keith has done a lot of hard work behind the scenes supporting SCDP and Becky as well. So we're pleased to share an update to the school committee.
Yes, so Keith and Kerry Packard both provided a program update to the committee on the SEDP, the Summer Fun Club, as well as the start of the 2025-2026 school year program. So the Summer Fun Club was a resounding success, as evidenced by the numerous fun activities and smiling faces captured in the provided photographs. The Fun Club offered a diverse range of activities, crafts, and games, with the themed weeks being particularly popular. Attendees also had the opportunity to enjoy weekly field trips to locations such as Hopkinton State Park, Canopy Lake Park, and Southwick Zoo, among others. The 2025-2026 school year began on our first day of school as well for the district, and that was Thursday, August 28th. However, the planning for the school year does start well before the first day of school. In March, families who are currently enrolled in the program are sent an email confirming the dates that they're currently enrolled in, and they are confirmed for those dates for the upcoming school year. Those families do have the opportunity, though, if they require additional dates or changes to those, to request those times. And then based on availability and request, those students will either be granted spots or will be placed on a wait list in the order in which their application was received. At the same time that is happening, sibling registration opens, so existing SEDP families will register their incoming kindergarten students before spaces become available to the general public. And once those families have that opportunity, then the general public will also have the opportunity to enroll in programs. Before and after school care is offered at both Finn and Neary, and Woodward does have an after school program. The before school program is not housed at Woodward due to a lack of available staff who are available to work at all three schools, so it is consolidated into the two schools. And logistically, it did make sense to have the program at Neary because of the way that the buses run. So those students will attend Neary, the bus will pick them up at Neary, and then bring them to Woodward for their school day. Throughout the year, SEDP also offers special programming and events on early dismissal days and on select days when school's not in session, and I did provide the committee with the calendar for the school year's activities. As you can see, they are open February and April vacation weeks. They are also open on professional development days and also religious observance days. The dates they're closed are on Patriots' Day, the December break, and then federal holidays, with Veterans Day being the one exception. They are open on that day. And then while any student who is enrolled in Southborough Public Schools can register for the full-day program, the SED families are given the priority on those days. Space is limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis, typically with students already enrolled in the program filling those spots. However, there is a cap of 75 students on that per day, so there is the opportunity that other students may be able to enroll. And they do condense that program into one location on those full days, so Neary becomes the home for all of the programs on those full day programs. Also provided in your packet is an overview of the program's enrollment, and these figures show the number of students who are enrolled at each site on each day of the week. I will explain that the column entitled FTE does not stand for full-time employee. It actually stands for full-time equivalent. So it's basically the average of the number of students who attend that program over the course of the week. You'll also note that Friday seems to be the lower of the days. And so that does skew that overall average. The daily enrollment cap at each of the after-school locations is 65 students, and that cap was initially determined by the Mass Department of Early Education and Care when SEDP operated as a nonprofit. We have continued to retain that cap to ensure the integrity of the program, maintain the quality of services, and ensure the safety of the students who are attending. And then the morning programs are capped based on the staffing that we have available to us. The staffing levels do vary day to day because of the enrollment numbers, but we do have ratio requirements of 13:1. However, I will say that's probably on the high end. We're probably closer to about an 8:1 ratio with our students. And we do provide assistance not just through adult group leaders, but we also have a number of high school students who also work for the program who are able to provide assistance. And so I welcome any questions.
Roger.
You mentioned a couple of times, first come, first serve and capping. Do you sense, do you think that a lot of folks are turned away, or are you about right, or what's your sense?
I know that she does have a wait list,
Okay.
and that as spaces do open up, she is filling spaces. So there, and I think some schools probably fill it faster than others, but I know that there is a wait list.
Significant wait list, you think? or
I don't know that off the
okay.
top. I can find
Fair
that
enough.
out though.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
Some question.
So, pre-COVID, pre the district taking over, did we have wait lists then? Do you know?
Yes.
We did? Okay. And I would imagine, and I guess take Fridays for example. Do you think Fridays has increased with enrollment since the district's taken over? Do you know?
I do not know that. I can find that out from Carrie though.
Okay. I mean, I think part of when we get capped, Roger, has to do with class sizes too, right? So right now, the third grade class at Woodward is huge.
Okay.
So I think that plays into probably why we're seeing very high enrollment numbers at Woodward compared to, I mean, Finn's pretty big too, but Woodward's consistently big on every day. And then I think Neary also probably has a factor of kids are getting older too, so they probably don't have as much need.
Well, Finn and Neary have the most significant dropouts on Friday, from a percentage standpoint. You know, but I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
I'm a data-driven person, so I'm looking at that data to try to conclude something.
So I'd be curious to look into whether we think that families needing this service has increased over the last 5 years, or if it's remained flat.
I do remember right after COVID when a number of families were working remotely that we did see a decrease. Probably I'd say in like the 22, 23 range. I think now more employers are having people go back into the office, so I think that's why we're starting to see the numbers creep up again.
We can look at data and
Interesting.
do an analysis.
Yeah.
I think during COVID, it's
Hard.
sample.
Well, right.
But
Yeah.
I think we can look at, if we can ask Carrie if she has any
Historical data.
pre-COVID data, and we have good data now, so
Yeah.
it'd be a good analysis.
Just because I look at this program as at least from my perspective, as a program that I would not want to have a wait list for. I just see this as a very affordable program that we haven't raised fees for since the district's taken over 5 years ago, right? And I think that if there's any way that we can make this available to as many students that need it, I think that is important, I think, from the district perspective.
I'll just add that from a hiring perspective,
Yeah, I was just
Right.
it can be a really
Yeah.
challenging program because, it's not a full-day job.
Right.
So it's either in the morning, in the afternoon. So I think that it's really around maintaining ratios and having the right number of staff to maintain safety.
Yeah.
But we can talk with Carrie and see, what would it take to eliminate waiting lists.
Yeah.
Well, it would really change the economics, I think, also. I mean, right?
Well, that's why I'm asking-
Because- not for the better, as far as the cost per student, if you will. I'm not saying...
You think it would improve it?
No, I don't see how you can actually be as efficient, and I'm not disagreeing with your point.
Yeah.
I'm simply saying that one of the, unplanned results, would be, I think, the cost, the overall cost would be more per student, because you're making sure that you you handle that last student.
Yeah. I mean, I do think, like, understanding, though, what the wait list does look like would be helpful. I also think,
sure.
And I don't know how you would change the process, but if I were to apply for it in March, didn't get Tuesdays because it's full at Woodward, then I'm going to have to go find some other care, right? So you may have people that aren't on the wait list that would benefit from this program. So I think you need to know, like, if you had another 10 kids at Woodward throughout the week, does that offset hiring another person that, and based on the ratios, I would guess that you're probably leaning towards not doing the high school student, and that's why your ratio is lower than the 13-to-1. But I get the hiring issue too.
Yeah, I think that if we go back to the purpose of running a before and after school program, it's really to support our working families.
Right.
It's to create that, that before and after school community, neighborhood feel for our kids. So I think that we can talk with Carrie. I think this is is it our 5th year? I don't think so.
I think it might be our 4th.
Fourth.
Okay.
We entered our 4th.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a good time to kind of collect the data, analyze it, and look at enrollment trends, and see if any adjustments need to be made.
Okay.
How long is the wait list approximately?
I don't know. I would have to find that out.
I think your biggest problem is going to be staffing.
Yeah.
And Carrie's done an excellent job, in terms of the program,
It's hard.
the programming, and making sure that kids are excited to be there, that it's not an extension of the school day in terms of schoolwork. It's a nice combination. She's done a great job.
And I think families are very happy with it. I mean, they sign up every year, right? And I think it's a great option for families to take advantage of. Roger.
So I think maybe it was explained, but I missed it. So there's significant drop-off on Friday, which is significant, right? There's like 60, on this trip, there's like 60 less kids on Friday than there were on Thursday, which is like 25%.
But if you think about what happens now, oftentimes Friday's a remote day.
Okay.
So they reserve 5 days,
Yeah.
but their children don't attend that Friday. So I think it's a change of kind of working conditions for families.
Yeah.
So my point wasn't, I think my point was mostly, so isn't that more difficult to manage?
No, because people pay for the 5 days.
Okay.
So they're just not attending.
Okay.
Okay. And I think the summary of how the summer went sounds great, and I'm excited. Is this the first time that we've offered days off programming for the religious holidays, or no?
No.
No.
We've
No,
done
last
that.
year as well.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's great. Oh, I guess we have more holidays this year, so that's why it's more prevalent. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Carrie and team, and Keith and Becky, for all your work on SEP. Any other comments? All right. School resource officer position update.
Yeah, so thrilled to share that Southborough Police Officer Brian Collins officially began his role as School Resource Officer on September 30th, 2025. So he'll be working full-time in our schools, 5 days a week, and really around community policing, proactive policing, building relationships with students, staff, and families, with the overarching goal of providing safe, supportive school climates. So we, principals and the leadership team, met with Officer Collins. I think he's a great person for the job. Very friendly. He has a young family as well, and really excited about the position. So we're very thankful to Chief Newell for prioritizing this position, and look forward to see Officer Collins do his work in our buildings.
Any comments or questions on that? Great, thank you. Report of the Resolutions Committee.
So in your packet, I did summarize the resolutions. There's really one new resolution, and then the other resolutions were reauthorizing expiring resolutions. So in your packet, I did include, my recommendation. It's really up to if a member attends the voting delegation, to be able to, I think, as we learned from Tracy, Vic in our workshop, to really allow that person to hear the amendments and go in with an open mind and be able to vote for the school committee. I think the votes are very preliminary. It takes years for these resolutions to become legislation, so there are many traps ahead. It's not essential that someone attends. There's been years where we've had a voting delegate. There's years where we have not. So I think it's really up to the committee and schedules.
And when is the meeting for this?
It's on the 4th, I believe. It's
That's Friday?
yes. I think it's so it's the 12th, 13th, and 14th is the conference, and I believe the voting delegation is on Friday the 13th.
Okay. Well, first, does anybody want to talk about the new resolution and any comments on that? It's to remove BMI testing from schools. So I'm in favor of that. I think it's an outdated metric that doesn't belong there, so.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so secondly, does anybody think that they may be there on Friday, the 14th?
I was thinking of going on Thursday.
Okay.
So I don't know yet about Friday quite, kind of depends on when that is, but I think Thursday was more kind of what I was thinking,
Okay.
just in terms of timing.
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I think it's
Is
gonna be
anybody
tough.
from Northborough going to be there for Friday?
Yes, so I believe the region and Northborough will be there for Friday.
Okay.
So we also have Joan Frank's dinner where she will receive her award Friday. So people are attending Friday to
Okay.
go to attend the dinner. So
Can we
have-
delegate one of them or no?
No, but we have representation.
Okay.
So I think
Okay.
if you want to reach out to the chair
Okay.
of Northborough and the region and share
Is
your
that,
thoughts.
Greg, is that Friday night?
Yes. Yep.
All right. I will go ahead and do that. Are we good on that topic? All right. Approval of grants and donations.
So turn it over to Stephanie.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about all 3 grants, although I might go out of order because I'm going to talk about the PRISM grant in more detail. So first, the approval of the Comprehensive Health and Wellness Grant in the amount of $60,000. This is continuing, it was a continuation grant, so it's continuing our work from last year, which we are focused on, some you heard a little bit about tonight, but working on developing scope and sequence and unit plans that are aligned to the new curriculum frameworks. The one thing I think it's important for you to understand in terms of the finances of this is that every district that gets this grant, part of that $60,000 is actually helping to pay for statewide professional development. So it flows through us, but it is not all 60,000, like 35,000 of it this year is actually for statewide professional development and evaluation of the program.
So then you pay the state? So you get...
We pay the company that is providing the professional development that is available. It does, actually, I misstated that. It pays for statewide professional development and pays for that person to work with us directly.
Okay.
But the working with us directly is a fraction of the sort of statewide. And the consultants that are doing that work are fantastic, and they were just here on October 1st working with our elementary PE teachers, and so it's all been very well done. It's just a little unusual in terms of the finances. I just wanted you to understand that. I'm going to skip over the PRISM grant for a minute. The Proficiency Outcomes in World Languages grant, the amount of $8,100, is also a grant that we had last year, and this is our second year. This is in collaboration with Northborough and the region. And this is supporting our work on proficiency-based outcomes in world languages. And one thing in particular that impacts the K-8 is we are using a proficiency-based assessment with our 8th graders as a way to have a common assessment across all of our 8th graders, and then to use it to help us with accurate placement of students for high school in 9th grade. So that's, but it's also supporting a world language advisory team and some other aspects of our work.
So is this middle school driven, or does it also include K-5?
So it is more middle school driven in terms of the activities, but our K-5 teachers are participating in the advisory team and are very involved and invested. So like we're not doing any kind of assessment with our elementary students, but we are talking about our K through 12 continuum.
Okay.
So, yes. Okay, so PRISM, I'm going to share my screen again. Just you have the slides in your packets, which they probably are easier to read in the packet, but I will share for the public. So the PRISM grant, I wanted to just give a little bit more information since it is a really large, both financially and in terms of time commitment, a really significant grant. So this is our second year of being part of the PRISM 1 cohort, which stands for the Partnership for Reading Success Massachusetts. And Northborough and Southborough, this is a grant that is to both towns. It is a 5-year grant, and we were one of 14 districts that were selected for this. The vision, which is on this slide, I think it's just important to realize, is actually the vision for all 14 districts, and the metrics that they have set are for all 14 districts. So they're thinking of us as a cohort of 14 districts, and then they work intensively with every district on this work. This is focused on pre-K through 3, so it's focused on early literacy, but I will say that I think it is really supporting us beyond 3rd grade in terms of our capacity building, our learning, and sort of our approach to this work. Our work last year going into this year involved a literacy system scan, which basically is a really intensive self-assessment. And we have a designated coach, actually a pair of coaches from TNTP, which is a national consulting group that works with us as system leaders and works with our PRISM leadership team, which includes teachers, principals, speech and language pathologists, all different roles. And they help lead the system scan. They do everything, including site visits, They visited classrooms, they had focus groups with teachers, they had interviews with principals. So a lot of data was collected, and then that was used to create an action plan. And the action plan is what is driving our work now this year and for the next 3 years. So as they did this system scan, they focused on 4 domains. And the decisions that we made were to focus this year really on the first 2 domains. And so what that means for us is that we're really focusing on having aligned, tiered instructional materials and classroom practices. So making sure we have the materials people need and the instructional practices that we need for pre-K through 3 early literacy. And domain 2 being professional development and coaching that builds capacity. So to do these things, we're really focused on making sure that we have the right materials for all of the educators, for all of the different tiers of literacy instruction, and that we are supporting professional growth. The way that we are doing this is, and this is part of what is really significant about this grant, is that it has supported not only professional development and supplies, but also increases in staffing. So we were able to hire an additional literacy specialist over the summer. And in Southborough, it was is one of our own teachers who is a qualified certified reading specialist, Jocelyn Kelly, and has come out of the classroom as an additional literacy specialist and is using her expertise in that way now. So that is one of the shifts, and that what that is giving us the capacity to do is to not only meet the targeted intervention needs of students, but to also have our literacy specialists as a team have time in their day to push into general education classrooms and help teachers have job-embedded professional development on how to meet the needs of the range of learners within the classroom, which also supports what you heard the teachers or the principals talking about in terms of inclusive practices in our schools. In terms of the professional development, that is one piece of it. We'll also be offering a course that people can take. We'll be providing professional development on professional development days, so there'll be a lot of additional opportunities. And then in terms of resources, we will be able to get to update foundational skills resources, to get additional resources in the preschool and in other areas where, like handwriting, where we don't currently have consistent resources across the board. I want to make sure you understand the financial model of this grant. It is anything we're doing with professional development and supplies is 100% funded by the grant. The staffing is a tapering model of financial support. So this year, the staffing is 100% funded by the grant, including benefits. In the subsequent years, it will taper as a way to help us work it into the operational budget. So next year, it will be 75% grant funded, that salary, 25% operational, then 50-50, then 25-75, so that by the conclusion of the grant, the goal is to have worked it into our operational budget. Each year, we will reassess and say, is this still the need? And each year, we'll have to update our action plans along with our coaches. And each year, we will get a new allocation. Like the funding that we have right now is for this fiscal year only.
So the allocation could
change.
Other than the percentage amount changing, the allocation, like the
yes,
top amount could change?
Yes,
Okay.
And it has. I mean, last year, our allotment was, maybe to Southborough, it was like maybe $10,000
Yeah,
or something, because
okay.
it was just paying for stipends for the literacy system scan work. Whereas this year, they, had a massive increase in the amount, and there were formulas that are based on the numbers of schools that are involved in the grant, and which actually works in our favor because we have multiple small schools, whereas in some districts, if you have consolidated schools, they could have as many students as us, but one school. And the formulas actually worked in our favors in this case, which is interesting.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll say, and then I'll take questions, is just that it is a tremendous opportunity, and we're really grateful and proud to be part of this. And it is, but I have to thank Megan Kelty, who is really the lead on this. We had to have accomplished a lot to even be considered for this. And now taking on this work is a tremendous amount of work. Megan is leading the work, but Jennifer Henry, Deb Lemieux, Selviola, and then a team of teachers, representatives from every school, from every grade level, speech and language pathology, special education, English language development. We have, principals, a whole range that are on this leadership team. So huge thanks to all of those people who are helping to lead this work. I think it's going to be very, very impactful.
Thank you. Does anybody have any comments or questions on any of the grants? Okay. This is I can tell you're very excited about this. I think I agree that it's very exciting, and we're fortunate to have Megan one out of 14 towns that got in. That's pretty, that just speaks to, it was very competitive, and so thank you, Megan. All right, so I'm going to move that we accept the 3 grants as presented this evening. Is there? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Thank you. Assabet Valley Collaborative Transportation
Sure. So just a
information.
brief update. The Southborough is a member of the Assabet Valley Collaborative, and it provides the district with a host of services, one being special education transportation for in-district and out-of-district students. We have learned that the recent contractor, Cabs for Kids, has had performance concerns. So ABC did notify the subcontractor of a breach of contract. I sit on the board as the superintendent representing Southborough, and other superintendents represent their districts. And we agreed that we would follow ABC's attorney's recommendation, send a notice of breach of contract, and we're now working through a cure to the concerns that we have. So that work is ongoing. It did require Helene to quickly shift some of our transportation services for our students. Becky and Helene did an amazing job making sure that students were not impacted through this concern that we have. I just want to compliment them, but this is something that I'm involved in. We had an executive session this afternoon, the board, so we continue to move forward with finding a cure to the performance concerns.
Any comments or questions? You good, Roger?
I'm sorry?
Are you good? You look like you're going to say
Well, it's a little concerning, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of a word that I'm thinking, but...
It's concerning, but I will share that the transportation industry and market is very challenging right now. So, I think the challenge that the ABC board has right now is there's no solution. So it's
Then it's a lot concerning.
So it's again this transportation ecosystem that we rely on that is challenging, not just our district, but the 11 other members of ABC. But it is concerning.
And there has or hasn't been disruption for students?
So we had, we had a couple of students were disrupted for 1 or 2 days at the most.
Okay. So minimal. I mean, well,
Yes.
relatively
But
speaking.
and for those families, it wasn't minimal. It was
Oh, yeah,
kids.
right.
But it could, in big picture.
Yeah.
I think Helene and Becky did a great job trying to minimize any negative impact to families and kids.
Yeah. Okay. All right, old business. pre-K to 8 school building committee update.
So I'd be happy to give an update. So the pre-K through 8 building committee did report its findings to the select board last evening. So I think that the highlight of the meeting for us is that Kelly Conklin and the educational working group presented its work, which the school committee was a part of, and shared the district's recommendations. Also, the preferred option that the school committee selected. She did an outstanding job. So I think it was very apparent that the educational working group did great work under the leadership of Dr. Reinhorn, Kelly Conklin, and it was a very thorough analysis. So Kelly presented the options that the school committee could support, that the educational working group could support, and there was alignment. And also, we did speak about the preferred option of the school committee. Tim Litt also presented the other analyses that were... Tim Fling, thank you, sorry, Tim.
I was going to say,
I was just going to say something.
Thanks, Tim.
I will not give you credit for that.
There were 3 Tims in the room.
It's called early morning, late night. So Tim Fling presented the other working groups. So they analyzed some of the cost and some of the feasibility options of the different scenarios. The pre-K through 8 building committee did not make any recommendations. It just provided data.
Okay.
So I think the next step is, my recommendation to the committee is to reach out to the select board and schedule a joint select board school committee meeting to talk about the data and a pathway forward.
Roger?
Again, through the chair. So they made no recommendations. Is their committee disbanded at this point? Does it still exist? I mean, is it?
So I think they have until the 14th, I believe, is their last day. So they are
The
still...
14th of October?
Correct.
Okay.
So another week.
So it would seem to me, I'm not sure, however, they've made no recommendations. Does it seem likely they will make any recommendations?
No, their
Or-
charge was
Part of the
not.
charge. Right.
Okay, that wasn't part of the charge.
Just to
so they're
compile
they've-
information.
It was a data collection.
Okay, data collection, okay.
My only caution of my observation and caution to the committee is that some of the work that the pre-K through 8 building committee did some cost estimates of potential scenarios. And I know it was shared that these were ballpark estimates. I just caution any estimates to be used until the school committee and the select board can have consensus around really diving into an option and really vetting it to make sure that the cost that we present to the community is more accurate than not. So that's something I get concerned about because there's a lot of factors and variables, and that would require us to do a whole nother level of analysis and feasibility studies to get a cost estimate that is actually accurate and close to what it would be in terms of moving the project forward.
Completely agree.
Yep.
That's really important.
Just one more follow-up,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, your suggestion that the school committee schedule a joint meeting with the select board to discuss this, do you have timing in mind that you're thinking that the school committee?
November 12th.
November 12th? Okay.
That's our next regular monthly meeting.
And then,
I think we need to at least get the conversation started again with select board now that the pre-K to 8 committee has done their work. And I think we have taken a position on what our preferred option is. To To my knowledge, the select board has not. I think they just received, kind of the matrix of information last night. So I think we need to get together and try to figure out how we can get a path forward with a potential building project that everybody can get behind, or at least the majority of people can get behind. And then, to Greg's point, refining a lot of the information that needs to be refined, including costs and like the actual feasibility of some of the projects that are on the matrix if we're going to look outside of the preferred option of the school committee. Because if you remember, we have the ones that we said we could support, but I think there's a lot more variables with many of those options that have not been vetted.
And I think the whole issue of having accurate cost is huge. Right?
Yeah.
Without the professionals involved, you really aren't going to have an accurate cost. It's impossible.
Or with just based on historical context that may not be relevant anymore.
But I do think that is the next level of the work, next level work of the select board and the school committee to, identify the options that are viable options, and then move forward with getting that data to present to the community.
Okay. Next is the Finn and Neary beta final reports. So we had Joe McLaughlin at our last meeting. The final reports were not ready for that because they were still waiting on the radon testing results. Those came back fine, no surprises there. So now we've been provided with the final reports, which also included a lot of the historical information from other assessments that we've done in the last 2 to 3 years. In the packet, though, the backup for Neary was actually Finn. So we will get that corrected once Keith's back. But that was both reports were pretty lengthy and had a lot of information on there. So I had a lot of questions, kind of follow-up, that probably Joe should respond to. So I've forwarded those along to the superintendent to get answers on. So first off, does anybody have any questions right now that they want to throw out there for these reports? Or do you want to take the next week or two to go through, I mean, there's just a lot of information there, and provide any questions to me or Greg, and then we can put this back on the November agenda to kind of go through some of those. Okay.
So you have some questions, additional questions.
Yeah.
And will the answers to those questions be integrated into the current report, so we'll sort of have everything in one place, or how is that going to work? Or
I think we can talk about them in November.
Okay.
I think it's also time for us to take the action items in the reports and create a task list, present that to the committee. Also talk about where we are in terms of the HERA testing in that cycle. So I think it will give us some time to prepare and present back to the school committee, what are our next steps as a result of the findings in these reports.
And then I think once we have like an action list, sure everything's integrated with, I mean, these reports are huge, so you can't really track it in these reports. Then we can talk about next steps too for any additional items that we, as a committee, want to look at. But the packet will be updated, and there is a ton of information there for anybody listening. But as we discussed last meeting, there were no surprises that kind of came out of that. So, okay. You good on that topic then? Yep. All right. Roger, you good with that plan?
second?
No, you don't need to second. I'm just.
Nothing to second?
No. Okay.
Then I take it back.
All right. Superintendent's report to the committee enrollments.
Sure, so the first item is enrollments, and that is in your packet as of 9:15. So again, we are watching enrollments for our FY27 projections. Currently across K through 5, we have 41 sections. Next year, based on enrollment, we're anticipating 43 sections. So in terms of looking at our budget, that will have a budget impact of adding an additional 2 teachers. So that is something that we're looking closely at. And I think we're in the middle of budget conversations now, but it is something I just wanted to highlight to the committee.
I mean, I think it's great. In prior years, we've been able to shift resources as kind of class sizes have fluctuated, and now we're seeing, I mean, take second grade, for example. They were at like 111 last year, and they're at 120 this year. So we're definitely seeing an increase of enrollment on move-ins to the district. So, and you know, the 5th grade class that's moving on is the second to smallest in K to 5 right now, right? So we're moving a smaller class to 6th grade, and we're filling it with a larger class. So, you know, it's great when you can reduce and reallocate resources, but then we are going to have to add to keep with class size policy for FY27.
And just in general, if you look at NESDEC's enrollment report, you know, over the next 5 to 10 years, we are anticipating at the elementary level a 9% increase in elementary enrollment. So from 2004 to 2024, we saw about an 11% decrease. So from 25 to 2034, 2035, we're going to see about an 8 to 9% increase. So we'll be back to that level. And that's a projection, so a lot can happen in that time as well.
And that doesn't include move-ins?
That does not
That's just
include-
based on birth rates? Okay. Right, thank you.
And then also in your packet are the budget items, so that FY26 budget line item transfer, that FY26 monthly general fund expenditure report, and approval of warrants and payrolls. Turn it over to Becky.
Okay. So the report that is in your packet is as of September 30th, 2024. So we've actually completed the first quarter of FY26. At this point in time, we do have about $359,000 remaining on the bottom line, or 1.48% of the operational budget. I think I mentioned at last month's meeting, but Corian Bardsley, who's the financial coordinator, has done a great job at setting money aside and encumbering money that is needed for the rest of the fiscal year. There are 2 lines that are showing as overexpended. The first is transportation special education. I will note that that is as a result of the new contract that we had when we had gone out to bid late in FY25 because of our dissolution of the prior contract, and that was after our budgets were due. However, we are still looking at that. We just received our July bills, so we've received our first month, so we will really start to dive into those and put some better estimates in for that line item. And then the second is the payments to collaboratives, and that is due to the fact that we did put an encumbrance in that line just to set aside funds in case of any unanticipated expenses in terms of our special education tuition. So it's just a placeholder right now. But really, there's not much to report on the budgets. We continue to watch them, but they are in a good place at this point. Do you want me to continue on, and we can vote all at the same time? Okay, all right.
You have a question?
Well, payment, so what again is payment to collaboratives? Okay.
That is for tuition, so for like the Assabet Valley
Oh,
we have,
okay,
or
okay.
Case,
Got
one
it.
of those, yes. So the next item is I think the warrants and the payroll. So I have included in your packet the payroll and the accounts payable warrants that were approved by DocuSign for the month of September. You can see it's been a pretty busy month. It usually is with all of the summer ordering. So we have some larger warrants that have gone out over the past month. And then I will just report on the revolving accounts. So the food services, there is one thing that I did want to mention from the last meeting. We were talking about FY25, and Chelsea, I think you had pointed out that there was a slight, that we had a deficit. Sorry, couldn't think of the word. That's bad for somebody in my position. This was a deficit there. And one thing that I neglected to say is that we are still awaiting 2 reimbursements from the state. The state actually did run out of money for the free meals, and there is a supplemental bill that has been pending with the legislature. We are waiting to see that, so we are still waiting for those revenues from both May and June. So I do not anticipate there being a deficit for FY25 again. So that, once we receive that though, it will be reflected on this report.
Is it at risk of not getting approved?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's just, there are other things that they're discussing, and that's just unfortunately getting caught in. So not much to report though for food services, the revenue, and these reports are as of August 31st, just because of the timing of the school committee. It's difficult for us to get the September 30th numbers. So revenues obviously were very small. It was 2 days, but you can see we had a healthy 2 days, and so we do anticipate additional revenues. Our facility rental, we have not expended any money. We do have a few encumbrances that we have set aside, and just to remind the committee too that we also talked about utilizing these funds for the
Neary roof.
Neary, thank you, and that is included in that $80,000 encumbrance. And then finally, with the extended day, this is just reflecting a little the prepayments for the month of September. The summer was collected in the spring of last year, but they continue to have a fund balance. And with both the food services and with the extended day program, we have not yet accounted for the health insurance premiums. We reconcile with the town on a quarterly basis. So at next month's report, I should have those numbers to report to you. So they will look a little bit lower. I do not anticipate having 900,000 at the end of the year. Okay.
So, sorry, can I just ask a quick question? On the facility rental, didn't we vote for the Trottier roof gap and the Neary roof vis-a-vis our schematic design or whatever?
Yeah.
So that's going to be more than 80.
So this
right?
this is the 60, and plus there were a couple other things that were included. In that.
So the 60 was for the Trottier roof.
Yes.
And then because this is as of 8/31, we voted that in September.
Yes. So that won't be
so what is that will be like 180
yes.
for encumbrance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Sorry.
Okay. And then the preschool, again, the revenue that is for collecting, we collect in August for the month of September, so that we are starting to see revenues come in for the school year. And we have seen some encumbrances in terms of the purchasing of supplies. So the fund balance is showing us a little bit lower right now than what I had originally anticipated. However, we do see some fluctuations because we encumber some supplies and then things change. They also do receive a grant, and we are oftentimes able to move expenses off of the revolving onto the grant.
Okay. Any questions for Becky? Okay, and you just need a vote on the budget line item transfers and the general fund? Do you need it for the payroll too?
When I read it, it doesn't look like we need a vote. It just, we need to report to the committee on what has been done.
All right. Roger, you want to make the motion?
On the budget itself?
Yeah, the budget and the transfers.
So I'm going to move that we approve the, go back to the right page here. Southborough Public Schools 2026 operating budget through October 31st.
September.
September 31st until
30th.
And as well, through the transfers that were made as presented.
Did you say until audited?
I'm sorry?
Did you say until
On
audited?
the first one I said
All right.
until audited.
All right,
I didn't
great.
say the transfers until audited,
But-
but I don't know if we audit the transfers.
We don't. All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? All right, thank you. Thank you, Becky. FY27 capital plan?
Yes, so on September 29th, the subcommittee met to refine the capital plan. So this is a draft that's reflective of that conversation. I think the goal is to continue to get feedback in draft form and then to vote the capital plan at November meeting.
So is the only thing that changed on here was the feasibility and cost for full renovation for Neary, or were there other changes?
I believe that was the major change, yes.
Okay. Oh, and we moved technology upgrades to 1 year for Trotter? I think,
Yes.
yes.
Correct.
But we moved Woodward out to FY29? Or was that always an FY, for the technology infrastructure? Because we did second grade, not third, right?
Correct. So next year, our focus will be Trotter.
Trotter? Then we're going to take a year off?
No.
No,
it's
Neary.
gonna-
Got it. Okay.
And this is in draft form, so we can continue to have conversations with John Parent around
Yeah,
what's the timing
Yeah.
of this.
The subcommittee has not met. I don't think there's been a meeting scheduled yet either.
for capital?
Right, for capital.
So
I'm not sure.
October 20th, I believe, is I did reach out to the chair and he said dates that are available, so October 20th was a date. I haven't confirmed yet, but I will.
All right.
So does anybody have any questions about this? Roger, do you think you need a subcommittee meeting before you meet with capital planning, or you think you're good?
I don't, I have no reason to think that we need to have
Okay.
a subcommittee meeting before we meet with capital plan.
Okay.
Just more of an FYI, is all that is really.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if there were some, some questions that Keith may have, okay,
Yeah.
but I don't see any need for it.
Yeah. Okay.
My recommendation is to continue to take a close look, ask questions, make any recommended changes, then we can prepare for the October 20th meeting.
Okay. Great. And just to be clear,
Yeah.
that the 45 million in FY29 for the cost of a full renovation for Neary is not a hard number. Like
Yes,
that is from a report that is over a year old.
Correct.
So, now, and that number was kind of put on a shelf and not beaten up Is that fair?
That is, I think, and again, this is what is the next level of work of the select board and the school committee, deciding a third option and then getting a real accurate number for whatever that option is.
Yeah. Okay. Which the 500,000 would lead to.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Also, in your packet of the budget priorities, again, we met on September 29th to discuss the priorities. We tried to capture, the conversation and incorporate the requests into the draft budget priority documents.
I do have a question on the one that we struck for seek to add math specialists to support students in grades kindergarten through 8. So the position that we added is not directly supporting students, right? Because it's a coach for the educators. So do we have any intention of looking at math specialists to work directly with students? Do we need to see how the math coach works out after year 1 of Eureka? Like, kind of, where are we at with that?
I mean, I can share a thought if you want to start.
You share a thought.
I'll share a thought. We'll see if our thoughts agree.
Okay.
I think we need a little time to see that with the change in curriculum, with an investment in the math specialist, and who's one of the things that we're looking at is having new formative assessment data for students, just that's built into the curriculum, and there are resources for then responding to that data. I think we want to keep kids in the classroom involved in that tier 1 instruction and be really watching our data. But I don't think we want to jump to a model of pulling kids out of the classroom, which is often how intervention is provided. So my just kind of off the cuff response is I feel like we need to focus our effort right now on implementation of a really strong implementation of the tier 1 resource. I don't know if that.
Yeah, no, I would just add that when we think about if a student needs an intervention, what does that look like? And it doesn't always mean a person in terms of adding a position solely to provide intervention. So I think that's what we're sorting out, is that if a student needs extra support, how does that happen, by whom? And those are some of the questions we have. One model is looking at interventionists, but again, there's some unintended outcomes or consequences of having interventionists like that. So I think, to your point, we're still sorting it out.
And the other thing I'll just add is that the coaching work and the model that we're using to inform, like we're in the process right now of really defining what does that look like. And the model, or a book that we are using to inform our sort of building of tools and frameworks, is called Student-Focused Coaching. And it is really focused on the idea of the goal of coaching is student learning and student outcomes. And although it is not a direct that person is sitting down and working with students, it is 100% focused on the impact on students, looking at student data, looking at problem solving around students that might be struggling, and being that person who is helping a teacher to say, so who are the students that are struggling and how do we intervene and how do we provide that support? So it is indirect in that sense, but 100% focused on student outcomes.
Okay. So can I make a suggestion that we add under the provide students with resources that offer access to challenging blah blah blah, add something about math, and maybe it's not the result of adding a full-time position, but I still think that it should be a priority of the school committee to watch
Absolutely.
this and make sure that students are getting the support that they need as we kind of go through this first year of Eureka.
We can add that.
All right. Becky, you want it?
I just wrote math.
Math. And then she'll
I'll
see
know what
tomorrow.
that
Steph, what does that mean?
I feel like Becky always like
See,
makes it look.
Stephanie.
Okay. I think you did a nice job of capturing what we discussed last time. I don't, other than, we didn't talk about this, so I'm not saying you didn't add it. Something that I thought about after the meeting is under the maintain and improve sustainable, efficient, safe, attractive, and well-maintained schools that foster a conducive learning environment. I think we need to add something about what we're dealing with mold situations in the schools. And I don't think it needs to say specifically mold, but that's what I'm thinking about is making, like, it's more than just like maintaining in that top bullet. I think it's about
Health and environment.
Correct.
yeah, yeah, and I think we need, like, I don't know if we need to add a line item to the budget, but with the climate that we're in now, environmentally, not any other way, with rain and the roof situation that we find ourselves in, I just think we need to stay on top of that because that's imperative right now.
So again, the goal is, this is in draft form, so get it to a place where at the November meeting, just take a vote. I think it's in a good place as we navigate the budget process internally. We have a sense of direction from the school committee.
I think what Chelsea's saying is that we need corrective action as a category.
All right. Roger, any comments on this one?
No, I just want to, so as far as Denise is coming to corrective action, you're talking about in that section that we just talked about as far as maintaining
Yeah.
efficient, safe.
Because there are a number of issues that I think we
Right,
need to
some
correct.
sort of-
Whether it's
have that-
asbestos, whether it's
Have at
mold,
least that
whatever.
phrase or verb in it. Did we discuss whether or not the sequence of these were really relevant at all and maybe even shouldn't be considered to be relevant?
I think we talked about it last year. I don't think we talked about it this year.
Is it?
I don't think it's relevant, but
Fair enough.
unless you think so.
Fair enough.
I mean,
We can look at it, we have not looked at it organizationally, so we can just see if there's a better way to organize.
Well, I mean, other than sequence them in priority, but that's hard, and I'm not even
Well,
sure that.
For example,
you have to trace
financial
it.
pieces,
Right,
teaching and
right.
learning pieces together.
Yeah.
There's
So
ways we can.
I agree
Yeah.
with Chelsea. I don't think I think it is relevant.
so the goal would be that we finalize these at our November meeting. All right, and then you have the proposed budget calendar next for FY27.
Yes, so Cheryl is updating that as we move through the process. I think the next milestone really is meeting with the capital planning committee at the town level. But also we'll just note that the preliminary budget presentation is scheduled for 11/12, so next month.
Great. Okay. G, personnel report.
Yeah, so the personnel report as of October 8th primarily focuses on appointments for SED and a couple of ESP positions. And we had one resignation at SEDP group leader.
Great. Okay, thank you. So we changed our November meeting. It was originally scheduled for November 10th to avoid the MASC conference on November 12th, but we moved it back to November 12th, which is a Wednesday, so our normal cadence. Okay, next.
And isn't it, that's the joint meeting, right?
All right, well,
Or
that's what
could
I'm
be.
thinking. Yeah.
Proposed it. Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we have open meeting minutes from September 10th, which was our regular meeting in September. Anybody have any comments or questions on those? All right, I move that we accept the open meeting minutes of September 10th, 25.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? Agenda items for next month, so the budget presentation, a pre-K update, MTC appointee, and then I'm gonna add beta group action items. And I think something we talked about in June from our other action plan was the behavioral data. So if we could get some report on that, even if it's in December,
Yep.
like I think between November and December, if we can bring that back or bring it.
Which appointee did you say?
What'd you say?
Which,
MTC.
right.
Oh, sorry.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if, I was looking for that tonight, but okay, because we haven't interviewed
Right.
anyone yet.
So I did reach out to Mark Purple, and so I have a call in to see what the process is. And I also did email Matt Probst. to see-
I have texted Matt a couple of times,
Okay.
so I'll stay at it. We haven't connected.
Okay. Anybody else have anything that they really want to talk about, like for next month? All right, email me or let me know if there's something else. Okay. All right, next public comment. Mr. Litt?
Well, I just wanted to emphasize something that came out of the PK to 8 building exercise. And it's acknowledged in their overview, but it's kind of hard to overlook the fact that costs were assigned to options that are likely not feasible. And for some things, the cost of making things feasible were not estimated. So I think, when you look, when someone wasn't following the process, looks at the numbers, they're kind of, you might be inclined to be deceived. I don't think the intent is to deceive, but I think it's really important to understand the limitations of what they did.
Thank you. Okay. So we're going to go into executive session. So I move per exemption 3 to the open meeting law, chapter 38, section 21A3, that the school committee go into executive session to discuss the strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Southborough Teachers Association, as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and not to reconvene in open session. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Laura. Roll call vote. Laura?
Yes.
Denise? Aye. Roger?
Aye.
Chelsea is aye. All right. And it's 9:03. Thank you.